Welcome to the Veterans Cafe podcast, where we talk about issues surrounding veterans and soldiers, as well as current events in the world.
Sometimes we interview guests and organizations, but more than anything, we are here for you.
Welcome to another episode of the Veterans Cafe podcast. I'm Wes.
I'm Tracy.
And this time we actually wanted to talk about something a little bit different. We wanted to talk about you guys.
For those of you specifically who are interested in podcasting.
So we've actually had quite a few people reach out to us and ask us about the whole podcasting process. And one listener in particular, I actually exchanged quite a few emails with, and he's already got his thing like going. Like he got
awesome.
he got like all his equipment in the mail. He's got a very nice website up. So it's awesome, and I'll link to it so you guys can take a look at it. Definitely get ready for his first episode to come out here in the next month or two, and we'll keep you updated on that. But more than anything, we just wanted to, since we've had a couple of people ask us about the process, we want to let you know a little bit about how we got started, the steps you can take, and especially probably the places where we did things not the most efficiently.
But I think we did a podcast not too long ago about turning your hobby into business, which was talking specifically about my photography business, right? And every once in a while, it doesn't happen as often anymore, but every once in a while I'll get an email or a message or something just asking about, Tracy, what do you think about this camera, that camera? And I love photography. I could talk about it nonstop, like all day, 24/7, right? So I love it so much. So I think nothing of it to give back and share. And my husband feels the same way about podcasting. Right. So we just figured, since we talked about photography, and the ways that we were smart, ways that we weren't smart when we started my business, and a little bit of the money that we wasted and things like that foolishly, we decided, why don't we talk about podcasting? Yeah.
So, and I can tell you right off the bat, getting into this thing, I'm not going to lie, it was a little intimidating. Right. And we had talked about podcasting for a while. And so diving into it, it was a little hard to take that leap and really make it happen.
I see so many benefits to it now, though. I mean, on my photography business, right, we started a blog. And one of the reasons we started the blog, right, was because, we wanted to increase the traffic. And I'm definitely too much of, I don't want to say an artist, but I'm definitely too much of kind of like, free flow of like, not structure. If I'm in the mood, I'll write like 17 blogs. If I'm not in the mood, I'll do one like every year or whatever. So I'm very inconsistent with blogging. But the thing of it is, it took me a while to grasp podcasting, because for me, it felt like, well, why don't I just write a blog? I can throw some pictures in there. Why don't I just create a video with like a how-to video or something like that? I don't know. But then my husband kind of brought in my world a little bit about podcasting, and now I see so many advantages to it.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be. Of course, we do it, because it's something we enjoy doing together. Mm-hmm. It's something that we wanted to do to try and reach out to veterans. It's just something that we just really enjoy doing, and it's we're not looking at it like, we want this to be our business or our livelihood or anything. It's just something we enjoy doing. And it doesn't...
hopefully we help, people on the way. I mean, we're doing it for us because we enjoy it, but we're also doing it because we want to help people, right? So in the way of helping veterans specifically, right, because, it's called Veterans Cafe Podcast, we just want to help in general, and we just want to give back. So what better way, right, to give back than to teach somebody how to do a podcast?
Right. But of course, that doesn't have to be your reason. And of course, also, podcasting doesn't have to be like your primary thing. The reason we started a blog for Tracy's website was because I was explaining to her that, just having a blog on your website increases the traffic because you have constantly changing content, and it just draws more people to your website. And podcasting can actually serve as the same type of tool for you, depending on what you do with your website. If you have a website that has some kind of business, or maybe you do have some type of blog, or you're into some kind of craft or subject or something like that, a podcast doesn't necessarily have to drive it, but it can definitely supplement it in some way if it's something you're interested in doing and promoting and getting out there to people. So, podcasting is just a whole nother medium where you can just reach more people. So if you've been thinking about doing it, you need to do it.
What's also cool too, like I mentioned, like the blog and like maybe vlogging, right? Or maybe just like a how-to video, what have you. Once you have the equipment, right? And once you understand how to use the equipment, which I don't really think is that difficult, but once you get the grasp of it, you could do so many things with it. Like the possibilities are endless. So I don't know. I would definitely think it's worth it.
For sure. So just getting this thing started, let me tell you a little bit about
step one.
Step one. There is no step one, but there is a step one. So just getting this thing started, let me tell you a little bit about how this process started for me. And I know we made a little video a while back, and we had it on our website, and I took it down because I changed the website.
I made the video, and you
part of the podcasting thing. It's about branding. So if you feel like you need to change it, if you don't like it, or if you think people don't like it, then you need to change the branding. So that's just something I did with it. And it's not that I took the video down intentionally. It's just that
you hated the video.
I did not hate the video. Stop being a naysayer. I did not hate the video. And in fact, I want to put it back up on the website. Mm-hmm. But I completely forgot I was talking about it. You've made sure that I lost my train of thought on this.
That's why we're married. Keep you on your toes. And you're failing right now.
Thank you. Thank you, dear. Thank you.
Love you.
Okay. So I believe my point was going to be...
You're talking about branding.
Branding. So... So getting into this thing, to be completely honest, when I was getting into this thing, I did not put much thought at all into the branding, right? I created a website. I thought it looked pretty good. I created the name of the podcast and the website, and of course snapped up the domain as quick as I could, the one that I could find. Mm-hmm. And I really didn't put a whole lot of consideration into. I knew I wanted it to be veteran oriented, so of course I put veteran in the name, mm-hmm. But when it came to the branding, when it came to the naming, when it came to the website design, when it came to all that, I honestly did not put as much thought, effort, everything that I could have into it when we were getting started. And that probably could have helped us actually reach a lot of you guys much quicker if I had, mm-hmm. Put a little more thought into it. But honestly, it was just something I was sort of doing on the side. I was literally sitting in Bagram, Afghanistan, waiting to come home. And just started putting this thing together. Started researching microphones. And in my research, actually ended up buying the wrong kinds of microphones.
That's okay.
So my point is, if you put the thought into your naming, your branding, and everything that you need for the podcast, I guarantee you can make it awesome. And of course, as we're always offering, you can email us. And we mm-hmm. can help you do that, as we've already done with a couple of people. Because the cool thing about podcasting, what I really love about podcasting, is it's not like radio in the sense that we're not competing with other podcasts trying to get ratings or anything like that. Even if you want to do some type of advertising, anything like that on your podcast, you're not competing with your niche. Mm-hmm. So if you're a veteran and you start a veterans podcast, you're not competing with us. You're sharing your audience. Mm-hmm. We're sharing you guys with other podcasts. Mm-hmm. So that's what I love about podcasting is it's not about competing with competitors. It's about building a community mm-hmm. and everyone, how do you think we get these, we've talked to a couple of organizations and things like that. Some of them have their own little podcast or video blogs or whatever mm-hmm. they have. And it's all about sharing information with one another and sharing the followers, sharing you guys, So that's what I love about the podcasting community and the whole medium as a whole. So
yeah, I feel a very similar way about photography. And whenever anybody asks me something, I give as much information as I can cram in their head because I feel the same way. I mean, if you love something, you want everyone else to love it as well, and you want everyone else to get something out of it. So, aside from picking the equipment right and picking your your name and all that, what would you say the next step is?
So, okay. So let's just do this in sequential order here. Yeah, let's do it so that they know exactly. Okay. So step one, like I was talking about with the branding and everything, get that straight and get it organized before you do anything with the podcast. Make sure you have a website up. You have it ready to go. You You have everything that you need in place to make sure that people can do whatever they need to do to find you. Finding you is number one, right? Before you ever create that first podcast, make sure you have all that taken care of. Whether if you have to reach out to someone to design your site for you or design your logo or help you come up with a name, all that stuff, make sure you have it done first. Don't just start recording something and then post it to iTunes using a hosting service without having a way for people to find you and connect with you on the internet. The interwebs are important. People need to find you. All right, so that's step one. Step two, once you have all that in place, the second most important thing, I think, with the podcasting thing is finding the right hosting. And we have an awesome hosting site, right? They even just did like a promo for us in their own podcast.
I know. And then somebody else shared it. And then somebody wrote an article about it. It was so awesome.
Yeah, we were actually, after all that happened, we were put in an article talking about 5 veterans podcasts that you should listen to. And in fact, we want to send a special thank you out to veteranaid.org. They were the guys that wrote a blog post and included us in it.
Very nice comments.
So the second thing is the good hosting, right? And I'll just tell you up front, a service that we use is called Libsyn, and they make it so easy. I mean, it is so amazingly easy to do anything on there.
And I love the way that you could follow like all the statistics.
Yeah, they have all the stats. They have all that stuff for you to follow. They submit your work to iTunes automatically for you. And in fact, they'll submit it to any website that they have like this certain unpublishing sort of tool for you to use. So like every time we publish a podcast, automatically it goes to Twitter, it goes to Facebook, it goes to Tumblr, it goes to LinkedIn, it goes to all these places.
Like what was it, Wolf?
Woof. Oh my God, I totally forgot about that. That's right. They woof our shit out onto the internet. That's what they do. If you've never watched The Office, how dare you? But that's what happens basically. Libsyn woofs your stuff out onto the internet. Except for the printer. There's no printer. But they do an amazing job. And we'll link to, and they do a great job of actually supporting the podcast that they host. So it's a really awesome site. But there are some other great ones out there too, like Blueberry and a couple others that we'll link to just so you guys have the resources. So on to step trace. Did I say that right? Trace?
No. Step 3.
Step Tracy. Okay. I'll find another language then. You're going to be that way. Step 3. French. What do you think about that? The only thing I retained from high school right there. 3. Anyways, step 3 is your equipment. Now, let me tell you the mistake that I made when I was looking into all this microphones and all that stuff. The first thing was I automatically associated the word broadcast with the microphone that we needed.
Yeah.
So every time you see broadcast, you see a condenser microphone most of the time, right? So when I bought these condenser microphones, if you don't know what a condenser microphone is, a condenser microphone literally requires phantom power, which means it basically has to be plugged in so that it like receives power to work, right? And these things are super, super sensitive. And this is a broadcast microphone. It's like what radio stations and all those, kinds of venues use. But it's because they have like soundproofed rooms, they have studios.
Yeah.
We're in the second bedroom of our apartment.
Which we converted to an office, yeah.
Which is an office.
And we have dogs running around, squeaking their toys.
Yeah. So if you've listened to any of our earlier podcasts, you've heard like the dog chewing the bone,
you hear
the fan going over. Yeah. The air conditioner blowing in the background.
Machine,
Every time we like hit the desk, the refrigerator humming in the front. You could hear everything. And we apologize for that. But
we've learned so much now.
Yes. So since then, of course, as I think we told you a while back, we upgraded and got different microphones, and now we are using
the cool little thingy.
Right. So we're using dynamic microphones now. And dynamic microphones are directional microphones. So you actually have to speak into it in a certain way so that it actually picks up your voice, and for the most part, only your voice. Yeah, and what she was talking about is we actually just recently got something called a FET head. And what it does is it actually converts the phantom power that you would usually need for a condenser microphone into clean gain for your dynamic microphone. And essentially what that means is with a dynamic microphone, you have to turn up what's called the gain, which is basically another way of saying the volume, to make sure that it picks your voice up properly. But the more gain you add, the more background noise it picks up. So this FET head actually helps you to have more volume without it picking up more of the background noise. So it was a pretty awesome investment. So anyways, in terms of microphones, we learned our lesson the hard way. The somewhat pricey way, but that's okay. You know, that's why we're here.
It's like go big or go home.
Right. Go big or just read more shit. What the hell's wrong with you?
Oh, goodness. Okay, so
we're on number 4. So number 4, of course, is recording that podcast. Whether you have a guest host or a co-host, or you're just doing it by yourself, is recording that podcast. And I'm not going to lie, you and I, we've gone really like back and forth on this as far as how we should do it, right? The whole format of the show and
several times.
It's been something for us that was incredibly difficult to kind of pin down how we should do things, right?
Yeah, I think part of it too is our personalities. I'm very, as I said before, I'm very kind of all over the place. Like either I'll do like I said, 17 blogs in a day, or I'll do like one in a year. So I think that was kind of the
right. And I'm a much more structured. I need an outline, all that kind of stuff, And I still feel What?
No, I definitely think that was part of it. It was our personalities. And then what was interesting to someone. Like just recently, right, I started playing with the idea of doing a photography podcast. And it was really hard because for one, I was by myself. And then for two, like how am I going to make it interesting to someone if they don't have like any kind of visual with them, right? So I think that's still in the works because I don't like what I did. But anyway, who knows if I ever will. But I think having a podcast evolve is okay. Products always evolve and change.
I'm pretty sure that just about any podcast you listen to, unless it's an NPR one, if you go back to the beginning, it probably sounds completely different from what you're listening to right now as it's coming out. If they're more than 10 episodes into it, you're probably hearing a difference. So, and just the way we talk now, I've listened back to some of our older episodes and it drives me crazy just to hear all the ums and the ahs and the likes and all that, So
we still do it, though.
I'm not saying that we don't still do it, but we've gotten so much better at it. We've become so much more comfortable, I think, just talking to no one.
Yeah.
To you, listener.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. I don't know. And I got to say, for those of you out there who want to do a podcast on your own, definitely go for it. But oh boy, it was a learning experience for me. It's
definitely much more difficult. And what's funny about it too is that every time Tracy has to actually record something without me, and I'm like the audio engineer of this thing, right?
He really is.
I'm doing all the editing and everything. So every time I'm like, look, you need to redo that. Okay, we need to redo this, or we're doing some kind of little sound bite, or when we did the promo for Libsyn, things like that. And I'll be like, I need you to redo that. And I'll just be sitting here recording, looking at the software, looking at Tracy, looking at the software, looking at Tracy, and just making her so amazingly uncomfortable. And eventually I'll be like, oh shit, I need to leave the room, don't I? Because you're feeling all weird about it.
Yeah, it's I definitely go for it if you want to do a solo one for sure. It's just oh boy, But I don't want to mess up your steps. But if you do want to have like a co-host or someone like phone in, so far the best that we've been able to figure out for us is Skype, right?
Yeah, step 4.5.
See, I just ruined your structure again.
No, it's okay. 4.5. We'll go half step on this one.
Okay.
No, and we do try to when we try to get a guest, and actually, to be honest, when it comes to this, we found it to be incredibly hard to make it happen. But if you're reaching out to a guest and you're going to try and have an interview, if at all it's possible for you to get them to call you on Skype, connected to Wi-Fi. That's important. They need to be connected to Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
If you can get them to do that, that's probably where you're going to get your best sound quality, especially if they're using like earbuds, and not having you on speakerphone. Because most people, of course, they don't have like, a microphone they're laying around where they can just, basically give you like podcast production quality.
Yeah.
They're just going to talk to you on the phone.
Yeah.
So that it's a very good point, actually, even though it's 4.5 because that's halfway.
My style. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, that's what we've found to be the best. And if you can't do it, if you got to talk to somebody over the phone, you can definitely reach out to us. It seems as though I've had quite a bit of experience trying to clean up audio that's coming off over the phone line. So I've got a little bit of experience with Audition, and I'd be definitely happy to make you guys tutorials or anything like that if it would help out with your own podcast, which you should be doing right now. You should be on Amazon ordering. So that's really, in a nutshell, that's probably the simplest way that we can explain getting into this thing. It's not nearly as difficult and intimidating as it sounds. I know it took me a while to really want to take that first step. I had mentioned this to Tracy quite some time ago, and it was something that I was always wanting to do, but never really pulled the trigger, And so when I finally did it, even after I set up the website, I did all that stuff, I bought everything we would need, we still didn't make it for what? Like, I came home and we didn't make it for like 3 months or something.
I think it was more like 6 months. Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but.
And then we struggled too with finding just like structure for us of like a routine, like we wanted to do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and that was impossible. So then we now finally have settled on every Wednesday. And I think that's going to be something that will evolve for you too. Just with, you get busy in your life, right?
For sure. That's step 4.75. Do not underestimate how much this is really going to eat into your time, because it definitely takes an investment. And I know it doesn't seem like it because, we put out these essentially half-hour podcasts, but sometimes it takes us an hour to record these things. It takes more hours to edit these things. And then it takes even more time to prepare it, to post it, to write the notes, to do everything you need to do to get it out there. And then if we find an
organization that we want to reach out to, sometimes they have time, sometimes they don't. Sometimes we have to work around their schedule. So there's that too.
Like we said, this is something that we love to do, but we love to do it on the side. So we still have jobs, we still have lives, so don't underestimate how much time it's going to take you, how much of an investment it actually is. It's not something that you can just whip out in a couple of minutes. So definitely keep that in mind.
So step 5?
So I guess in actuality, step 5 is probably just enjoy it. If you're not having fun with it, then the chances are you're probably just treating it like a job as opposed to something you enjoy doing,
And I'm sure that will translate. So nobody wants to listen to you like begrudgingly doing something, right?
Right. I think you can tell, actually, if you're listening to our podcast right now, you probably listen to other people's podcasts. So I know you can tell when you're hearing a podcast and someone's like heart isn't in it.
Yeah.
When they're just kind of BSing their way through it because they said they would put an episode out on Monday.
Yeah.
So.
And they're doing the whole like, Bueller.
Bueller. So definitely have fun with it, get into it. If you find like, if you start to find that your topic or your niche or whatever isn't working out, kill it. Start a new podcast, keep going. If it's something that you love doing, but you don't love what you're talking about or the direction it's going in, then change it. If you don't like your branding, change it. It's a podcast, It's not like you're the CEO of NBC or something like that, and you're going to wreck some 100-year-old company.
Yeah, have fun.
This is your thing. So
make it yours and have fun, right?
Absolutely. Get into it. Have fun. And one more thing, don't forget to ask people that they need to head over to iTunes and make sure they give you a good review. That's what we're asking you right now.
That's a good segue.
Don't forget, head over to iTunes, give us a review if you got the time. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Make sure you get the next episode on Wednesday morning when you wake up, okay? Thanks for listening to the episode. I'm Wes.
I'm Tracy.
And we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
visit our website to join the conversation. That's vetscafe.com, vetscafe.com.